Hobby Quick Hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 226 of Hobby Quick Hits. I'm John Newman. Today's episode I labeled The Art of Selling. And I'm just going to go, listen, I'm not saying I'm an expert or I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I've sold cards now, since I've probably been in my teens. So probably around 40 years, maybe more. Did my first show at 15. I've made my share of mistakes. I'm the first one to hang my hat on that peg and say, listen, everything doesn't always turn out roses. But through trial and error, and hopefully more trial than error, I've learned a few things along the way. So today I'm sort of going to share those things. Might be a little bit longer. We're going to do the product release schedule, but I am out of state, so I won't be doing the product news or the hobby news segment again, as I am, again, out of state and pre-recording this. But I will do the release schedule, and then we'll do the art of selling. All right, everybody, time for the new product release schedule, starting from let's go with April 8th, 2025-26, Panini Select La Liga Soccer. Also on the 8th, 2026, Upper Deck Allure Golf. Staying on the 8th, 25-26, Upper Deck Flair Hockey. That should be interesting. Also, Flair Ultra Superman. 25-26, Futura FC Barcelona Incredible Collection Soccer. 26, Futura Incredible Collection Series 2. Moving to the April 10th, 2026, Leaf Slideshow. Also on the 10th, 2026, Panini USA Stars and Stripes Prism Baseball H2. Pokemon Mega Evolution Perfect Order Build and Battle Deck. Staying on the 10th, 2026, Topps Chrome, WWE, Blasters, Delight, Hobby, and Megas. Let's go to the 15th, 25-26, Panini, Donruss Road to FIFA, World Cup 26 Soccer. 2026, Upper Deck AEW, Allure Wrestling. 2026, Upper Deck Artifacts Golf. 25/26, Upper Deck O-Pee-Chee Platinum Hockey. Moving to the 17th and closing out the release schedule, 2026 Leaf Magnificent Multisport. And last but not least, Yu-Gi-Oh! Rarity Collection. There is your product release schedule for the next few weeks. Choose your weapon. Happy ripping. Good luck.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, I'm going to just go through some of my notes here. I don't think these are necessarily in any particular order. And these are just some tips when it comes to selling sports cards. And this is whether it's online or at shows or in person or on a Facebook group or what have you. I don't think the setting matters as much as some of these rules that at least I use, right? Again, I'm not saying I'm an expert or smarter than you, but it's 40 years of experience, if you will. So I thought I'd share some of these. Again, in not a particular order, I just jotted some notes down, all right? So let's start with selling on emotional highs, right? When you have an athlete or player that's playing very well, but maybe at his peak, to me, I find that's sometimes the best time to sell. And let me use so I have a lot of Shohei Ohtanis, and if you come to my show or you come to a show I'm set up, you're probably not going to find a ton of Shoheis in my case, because I just think barring a catastrophic injury, he's going to have one heck of a career. He already has. It's going to get better. Some will argue that maybe I should sell now, right? When he's at a peak. But I think that peak has more ceiling, as crazy as that might sound, especially if he has a full career. So I'm in no hurry to sell. I got in on most of my Otani inventory at a very lower level. So it's not where I'm going to lose, even if I wait too long. And that's the other side of this coin, right? Sell on emotional highs, buy on, emotional lows, right? I notice when a athlete or player gets hurt, everyone bails on them. And it's not even a catastrophic injury. It might be an injury that's 2 to 3 weeks in some cases, or even less, and people just pull the parachute, pull the emergency rope, right? So if a player gets hurt, and as a sports fan, that's, I think, one of the advantages I have too is I'm a big time sports fan. If I know a player is only going to be out a week or two, and this isn't an injury that's going to affect them long term, an ACL, NCL, Tommy John surgery, even though pitchers do come back from that, they're out for an extended period of time. If this is your run of the mill injury that's not a long term effector, and I love that guy or like that guy a lot as far as to put in my inventory and my for shows, I'm going to buy on that emotional low. I'm going to buy when other people are bailing on them. Now that doesn't apply when someone does have a serious career threatening injury, especially on the football side of things. So don't, keep that in mind too. When holding, right? If you ever holding, like I'm holding Otani. So let me stay with him as the example. Ask yourself why you are holding. Just don't do it, and you can do whatever you want to. But what is the rationale for not selling now? And if you really can't think of a good one, if you're a dealer, maybe it is time to have that inventory in your showcase. But if you can justify the ends to the means, why am I not selling this at the moment? Then I always do that. Whenever I hold something, I ask myself, why am I not putting this out now? What's my rationale? PSA 10s versus PSA 9s. You ever look at the same card where one's a PSA 10 and one's a PSA 9 and you put them next to each other? Not a lot of difference between them, at least to the naked eye, right? So 9s can be a great buyer's opportunity because obviously they're going for significantly less than a 10. This isn't me, but if you're someone that likes to crack and resubmit, it's also a good opportunity to play that game. I don't play that game, but let's be real, people play that game. So for me not to mention it wouldn't be telling the whole story. I like to buy 9s just because, whether it's for my PC or my show inventory, it's just a great opportunity to get a card at a very affordable price. And there's people that look for those 9s, right? So I might have those 9s for someone who wants to buy it from me and take, spin that wheel and try to send that back in and get a 10. I'd rather them do it than me. And I've only cracked 2 or 3 cards in my whole life, not from 9s to 10, but I thought they were vintage, that were undergraded, and I resubmitted them, but nothing modern. Give yourself rules, right? I have some rules. Try to stick to them and be consistent, right? One of the biggest mistake I see fellow sellers make is they maybe try to have some set of rules and then they really go off track and just fly by the seat of their pants. Can that be okay? Sure, it's not a crime, but I think when you follow consistent rules for whatever works for you, you'll have more success, or you'll learn what's not working and be able to pivot. All right. What else do I got here? Market rewards the patience. But don't be too patient, right? Timing is everything. You've heard that saying, and not just a hobby, but in a lot of other things. But it rings true, right? Timing is everything. The hobby market does reward the patience, but it's like a hot potato. Sometimes if you're too patient, you can get burned. So you gotta know when the timing is right. Comps, right? We all use them, or most of us use them, but they're not the end all be all, right? There's something I actually value more. It's a term called replacement. So if I sell this item as a seller and it's an item I want to restock and have back in my showcase inventory, what is my replacement cost? What's the lowest I can get the same graded card if it's a graded card, or a raw card if it's the raw card? That's the replacement cost. So if it's an item that I want to continuously offer to my customers, I've got to factor the replacement cost, not just the comps, but the replacement cost when pricing my stuff. Speaking of pricing my stuff, I'm a pricer. If you're a dealer that sets up shows and your prices are reasonable and fair, pricing your cards will go a lot further than not pricing your cards, because some people, myself included, are just won't ask. So just keep moving to the next table. Collector versus dealer, right? Collectors are more attached to individual cards, and I'm both. So there are cards, as I'm talking right now, I'm surrounded by cards in my studio office here that you'll never see at the show. And I used to be worse at it than I am now. I used to really wrestle in my own mind with what should be sold and what am I keeping. I have more defined rules now. So I really just PC Hall of Fame graded rookie cards. So that really makes what I PC easy to figure out what I'm keeping. And I keep those things. And if I have a duplicate, you might see it in my showcase at a show. Right? Most of us have used eBay. It's a great selling tool. It's a great marketplace. Probably the number one most used hobby marketplace. But we all know, right? eBay fees. How many times have we all sold something and then when we look at the breakdown and what we get after all the fees are taken out, we're like, man, they got me, right? They killed me. I'm not saying don't use eBay, but keep in mind those fees on certain cards, right? Maybe it's better to just sell a card in person than to get crushed by those eBay fees. That's for you to decide. I will tell you this, not everything that I'm selling is on eBay. There's a reason for that, because those fees will gouge you in the end. Factoring the grading card costs, right? It costs us to grade our cards unless we're already bought them graded. Also a factor. But if you're submitting the cards to grade, but you can't gouge a buyer just because you paid $15-20 for a card to get graded and it didn't get the grade you want, you can't still overcharge. I mean, you can price it at anything you want, but keep in mind that someone's not just going to pay you more because you paid the grade. They're going to buy the grade. They're going to buy the card. Sometimes you have to lose. You can't win on every card. It's not realistic. It's not doable. Sometimes you got to just cut your losses, take a left hook every once in a while to the chin and move on. Stand up. Don't get knocked out and keep going. Cards and cases, right? Your cards and your showcases are sitting money. The longer they're there, they're not moving. You're not pricing them right. They're sitting money. And don't take this personal. I'm guilty of this too. I think any show dealer will tell you there are some cards they need to lower and they just have a hard time doing it. Buying right? Going to the right places to get deals, right? Estate sales, close out, when businesses close. And I'm not even just talking hobby shops. I'm talking about, your Dollar Generals or stores like that are closing. A pharmacy. They may have boxes of cards, and I'm not talking about singles, but wax. And I've gotten a lot of my wax deals from stores closing. Bulk buys, collections, right? I always love to buy a nice collection if we can agree on a price, right? Bulk buys. You always, if someone comes to your table selling some cards, you're probably going to get a better deal buying 3, 4, 5 or more cards than just saying, I want this one, right? Just same thing in reverse, right? As a dealer, if someone's going to buy one card from me or is interested in 4 or 5, they're more likely going to get a better deal from me, purchasing 4 or 5 rather than one. Keep receipts and cost analysis, right? Keep receipts for tax reasons, obviously, and cost analysis, right? Knowing if you buy a lot of cards, you're not going to remember kind of what you have in each card. So take notes, write stuff down, have a spreadsheet if you can, and that definitely helps for future, right? Sold prices versus asking prices, right? Rarely, I don't want to say rarely. Some people come up and just say, "I'll take that," right? But most people are going to want to negotiate or haggle over a price. Kind of keep that in mind when pricing your stuff without being too overpriced, but sort of build in a price that you know is probably going to be haggled over, right? And there are times where I would give a good customer that will come up to my table and just say, "John, I want that card." And let's say have $50 marked on it. If they're a good customer, they didn't even ask for it. I might say, hey, Mike, just give me $45. We're good. We've bought plenty of stuff from that. Goes a long way into future sales. Imagine you're a buyer and a dealer just gives you a $5 break, an example I gave, without you having to ask for it, right? Just tells them what kind of person you are and what kind of dealer you are. It goes a long way. If you're selling online, free shipping. If you can offer free shipping, you're going to, number one, get more views. Number two, you're going to get more sales. When listing online, right? Photos mean a lot more than the title, right? We all try to spend minutes or who knows how long, right? How do I want to word this? Do I want to put the player name first and then the brand and the card? Or do I want to go, right? We pull our hair out a little bit about with the titles, right? Pictures are worth more than the title. I'm not saying titles aren't important. They are. But the nice, clean, sharp photos showing as much of that card, front and back, corners, will go a long way. People will appreciate that you're being very upfront and forthright, disclosing those photos, right? Many times we see a listing has a front picture and back picture. Nothing wrong with that, but the more pictures you have of the item or card, the better off you're going to be. And what a lot of times happens, right? If we only put a front back picture, an interested buyer is going to ask for what? More photos, closer on the corners and surface. So by putting those ahead of time, you sort of eliminate a later step that you might have to do, right? Multiple channels, right? I list on eBay, SportsLot, My Slabs, other places, right? And some of the times I'll list the same card on multiple channels. You've got to soon as something sells, you got to pull it down from these other sites. Or if I have something that's on eBay and I sell it on the show, sell it at the show, I got to take it off eBay as quick as I can. And in probably 20 years of doing eBay, I'll admit to this, on 2 occasions I sold something at a card show, didn't pull it off eBay in time, and double sold it and had to send my bad to an eBay buyer. Card sold at show, didn't get to pull it off eBay. And in both of those cases, the buyer was very reasonable and understanding to that. But the quicker if you sell on one site and it doesn't automatically come off another, take that off as soon as you can to avoid, a predicament like that. Creating relationships, right? I've created a lot of relationships in all the years of shows and selling I've done. It takes time, but it doesn't take as much time as you think. The little things, right? I gave an example where someone just bought the card outright and I still gave them a discount without them asking, right? Asking people, hey, what are you looking for? And even if you don't have it that show, right? But you remember it and you pick it up for them or you acquire it for them for the next show, right? That stuff goes a long way in creating relationships. Buying cards from people create a relationship, right? It may be a pipeline, right? I have people I buy cards from because I've created that relationship of buying from them on a pretty consistent basis. They know what I'm sort of looking for. They know sort of what I'm willing to pay. And we do acquisitions like that. We kind of know each other's how we like to do business. It makes those transactions a lot easier. So create relationships. And the last one I wrote down, timing, right? In season versus off season. If you're buying cards, they're going to listen. It's just common sense, right? Football cards are going to be cheaper today than when the season kicks off, right? Baseball cards are about to get more expensive once the season gets started here. Well, the season is started. And so, you know, if you're really going to buy heavy baseball, the off season is the best way to do it because out of sight, out of mind, right? There's no games on TV. They're not playing. There's no new standings to check out. No new records broken. Buy in the off season and sell in the so. There you go. From my neck of the woods, just some of the things I've learned, trial and error over 40 years. Let me know what you think. Did I miss something? You got something to add? Did I do a good job sort of covering the art of selling as I titled this episode? Thanks, everybody.